So this video begins the review for the Ryken Geometry Final. And we can see that in 5.1, the first topic is called Mid-Segment Theorem. So, I tell you that if DE is a mid-segment, what does that mean? So here is DE. The second I tell you that that's a mid-segment, what I'm telling you is that D is a midpoint of the line segment AB, so therefore those two pieces are equal, and E is a midpoint of the line segment AC, and therefore these two pieces are equal. Alright, so that's what I'm telling you when I tell you that you have a mid-segment. Okay, so now I'd like you to write out what does that mean. So if DE is a mid-segment, what does it mean? And it means that DE, so I would say DE connects the midpoints AB and AC. All right, so that's what's happening when you have a mid-segment. Other things go on too, but that's the main thing I want to tell you right now. So the other thing that goes on is that this is parallel to this, and DE is half the size of BC. But in terms of this question 1, that would be a sufficient answer for me at this point. Okay, question 2. DE is a mid-segment, and if AD, so AD is 7. So let me change the colors briefly. So let's see what color. We'll make that red. So for this question, for number 2, it's going to be red. So if AD is 7, what do you know about DB? Well, DB has to be 7 as well because D is a midpoint of the line segment AB. So what's the length of DB? And the answer would be 7. Okay, so I'm going to change colors again, and we'll go with maybe something in the green family. Okay, for this question right here. DE is a mid-segment, okay. If DE is X, so make this length X, how would you represent BC? Well, BC is always twice the length of the mid-segment. So therefore, BC will be 2 times X or 2X. So 2X equals BC. Okay, we're changing again. We'll make this something in the blue family. Okay, so for this question, DE is a mid-segment. And if DE is now 5X plus 2, okay, so right here, I am now telling you that that is 5X plus 2. So then the question is, how would you represent BC? Well, BC is twice as long as DE. So since it's twice as long, I would say that BC is going to equal 2 times DE. Okay, since DE is 5X plus 2, 5X plus 2, doing the math, I find that BC is 2 times 5 is 10, X plus 2 times 2 is 4. So the answer is that if DE is 5X plus 2, then BC will be 10X plus 4. All right, we have another page of mid-segment theorem coming up. Okay, so it says use figure 2 to answer questions 5 to 10. And once again, DE, and F are all midpoints. Okay, so now we have the little triangle inside the triangle. So if D is a midpoint, then I know this equals this. If E is a midpoint, I know this equals this. And if F is a midpoint, then I know this equals this. So that's the kind of stuff that's happening. Now, other things you need to know. So DE is going to be half as big as AC. So for that reason, DE will be the same length as AF and FC. Okay, they all are going to be hash marks 3. Okay, so then look at EF. EF is parallel to BA. Since EFs are midpoints, what's happening is that this length right here, EF, is half the length of the entire BA. Okay, so I can make the same hash mark there. And our last little interior triangle is here. So DF is right here, and DF is half the length of BC, and therefore it's the same length as BE and EC. Okay, so you may have to look back at your notes to think about this information, because this is very, very important. So now let's look at the questions. The length of DE is the same as the lengths of what? So DE is a 3, so it's the same as the lengths of AF, also a 3, and FC. Okay, so then we'll change colors to do this question. The length of BC. Okay, so where is BC? BC is right here. This whole length is BC. That is twice the length of what? Well, it's twice the length of DF, which is right in here. So it's twice the length of DF. And then we'll change again. Okay, the length of EF. So where is EF? Okay, EF is right here. That length is half the length of DA. So it's half the length, of BA, or AB. Either way is fine. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase the marks that I have on figure 2, just to make it easier to see what we're going to do next. So I'm going to get rid of all of these marks, and then we'll answer the next questions with new marks. So let me change my color. Okay, and for this question, it's saying if the length of DE is 7. So here's DE. So if this is 7, then what's the length of AC? Well, here is AC. AC is going to be twice as long, because remember the hash marks we had before? If this is 1 hash mark, this is 1, and this is 1, because F is a midpoint. So this will be 7, and this will be 7. So if the length of DE is 7, what's the length of AC? Well, that length will be 7 plus 7, or 14. Okay, changing colors again. And I'm going to also erase what I had here. Okay, for this question, it says if the length of DF is 9. So where is DF? DF is right here. If this length is 9, what's that parallel to? Parallel to this. This is 9, and then this is 9. So 9 and 9, you stop at the midpoint. What is the length of BE? Well, BE is only half of the length of BC, so therefore it's going to be the same length as DF. So they'll both be 9. All right, so think about that. And we're going to change to purple, and I'll erase this. Okay, so now at this point, if the length of EF, so where's EF? Right here. Here's EF. If that length is 2x plus 3, so right here, that is 2x plus 3. Then, and the length of AB, So what's AB? Oh, AB is twice as big. So that, they say, is 10. Solve for x. So what do I know? I know that 2 times EF, so 2 times EF equals AB. So 2 times 2x plus 3 equals 10. If I substitute the numbers in for the pieces, distribute this very carefully. So that's 4x plus 6 equals 10. Subtract 6, subtract 6. I'm going to come up here. 4x, that cancels. 10 minus 6 is 4, equals 4. Divide by 4, divide by 4. So that's just a fancy 1. So x equals 1 is our answer here. Let's make sure that makes sense. If I plug in 1 for EF, 2, so right here I'm going to plug it in. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 3 more is 5. Is 5 half of 10? Yes, it is. So that makes perfect sense. Okay, and that concludes the 5-1 video. Okay, so that tells you one piece about 5-1. We're going to do 5-2 and 5-3 on the next video.